Steve Levitt, your grateful baker here. We're going to make some bread today. Why we're going to make bread? Well, it seems that everyone and their brother, everyone and their uncle, everyone's making bread today. How do I know? Because you can't find this anywhere. You cannot find yeast. It's off the shelves, it's everywhere, it's missing. But those of you who have yeast and have flour and have all the stuff you need, let's make some bread, because you might not know how to make it. You've maybe never made bread ever before in your life. So we're going to make really easy, sort of an Italian white bread loaf. All right, let's get started. We need some flour. So how much flour do we need? This recipe calls for 3 cups. There's about 120 grams in a cup of flour, give or take, depending on who you're talking to. That seems to be about the standard. So we're going to get some flour. Does it have to be bread flour? No. Bread flour is great because it has more protein. It's going to give you a better chew. It's better structure for the bread. However, times are tough these days. Not easy to find flour. We're just going to use AP flour, all-purpose flour, nice, easy flour. The regular flour we use for everything. So we're going to get 3 cups, 360 grams. To that, we're going to add in 7 grams, or if you have the packages of yeast, 1 package of yeast happens to be 7 grams. That's what we're going to use. 7 grams of active dry yeast. Now, here's the thing. What do we have here? Active dry yeast, quick rise, instant yeast. Difference? Same stuff. Smaller granules in the instant, bigger granules in the active dry. Active dry, you've got to activate. First of all, you got to make sure it's working. You got to proof it. So you get your water, 1 cup of water. That can weigh out to 100 grams, a cup. You put your yeast right inside, and you got to let it sit for about 5 to 8 minutes. And that's where you're proofing. Proofing just means, or as the British say, prove. You're proving that it actually works. You're going to see it start bubbling and foaming. Once this bubbles and foams, it's ready to go. Instant yeast, you don't need to do that. You just throw it right in. It's good to go because smaller granules, you don't need to get it all set and ready with the water. So while that's getting ready, we're going to take our salt because you need to have some flavor. Teaspoon of salt right into our flour. We're also going to take a teaspoon of sugar. Do we have to have sugar? Not necessary. However, sugar is what the yeast feeds off. The yeast eats the sugar, produces carbon dioxide. That's what gets the lovely bubbles and the little air pockets in there, and it makes yeast very, very happy. We're going to mix that around. We're going to use our hands. That's all mixed around. The other reason is also, if we were using the instant yeast, you cannot have the instant yeast coming in contact with the salt, because salt will kill your yeast. In this case, it's all mixed. It's good. By the way, this water should be between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Too warm and you're going to kill the yeast, and too low and it won't activate the yeast if you're using the active dry yeast. Just a little while in the microwave and that's all you need. And don't be afraid of yeast. Don't be worried you're going to kill it with salt. You're going to kill it with heat. It's not going to work. It's not going to rise. And it is what it is. But now it's been enough time. This is bubbling. It's beautiful. Let's get this now into our flour and sugar and salt. And to that, we're also going to add 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2, 3. Yep. Baking is really precise. And we're just going to slowly mix it around. I like to use this guy. It's a bowl scraper. It mixes everything around, but if you don't have one, again, a couple of bucks, you can get one, or you can just use your hands. And you're just trying to get it where it's just combined. It'll be kind of shaggy. It'll be kind of wet. You just keep mixing it around until you have no more dry bits of flour sitting at the bottom of the pan. And again, if you were using a mixer, a stand mixer, you just throw this in, you put in your dough hook, you turn it on, and at about low speed, get it up to maybe medium low, until it comes together as a ball and pulls away from the edge of the bowl. Okay, so that's a beautiful, beautiful dough. Look, shaggy, kind of coming together. And now we're going to knead. So you just play with it, make sure that all the pieces are together. I pulled mine out maybe a little bit early. Okay, now it's starting to come together. So you just use the heel of your hand. Give it a little push and back, and push and back. And what you're doing here is you're activating the glutens. And that's where bread flour comes in really handy, because as I said, bread flour has more protein. It's got a higher gluten content. A little scraper, and again, you don't need it. It just makes your life easier. I think they even sell them at the dollar store. And just give a push. And if it's a little bit wet like this one is, whatever you do, don't start adding flour to it. It would be unhappy. You can just start to slap and pull. And especially because we're using non-bread flour here, it'll take a little longer to knead together. If it was bread dough, it would happen a little bit quicker. But you're probably going to be kneading for anywhere from maybe 5 upwards of 10 minutes. But with this particular recipe, way closer to 5. And as you can see, it's already starting to turn into a nice cohesive dough. It's not all scraggly like it was only a minute or two ago. You see how it's almost there right now. See how it's getting kind of smooth. It's very elastic. That's what you're looking for. Just want to develop that so you're going to end up with, it's going to be such a beautiful, beautiful bread when it's done. It's going to have a crust, and it's light as a feather inside. The problem with this particular bread, really one person can eat the whole thing in a day. Maybe even one sitting, because it's so good, it's so light, it's so delicious, and you can do anything with it. All right, I think we're there. So, give it a little, and again, you can use this, you can use your hands, just get it into a little ball. Just tuck it under itself. You got a nice little ball. You see how nice and smooth that is on the outside? Beautiful. Get your bowl. Again, less dishes, less worry, less work. Put a little bit of oil in there. Just mix it around the bowl, because you don't want this bad boy sticking. Okay, upside down, flip it over. Now you got a little oil on the outside. Make it into a nice little ball. Get it down there. Let it get ready to sleep. Get yourself some cling wrap. Try not to get yelled at by anyone in the family for leaving bread remnants everywhere while walking through the house with dirty hands like that. Cover it up. Give yourself a quick little rinse, which you don't have to do, of course, if there's no one watching, because it's just bread, it's just flour and water. Okay. And we've got to get this into a warmish environment to proof. Now, some breads, they just need to be at room temperature. This particular bread, it kind of likes it a little bit warmer. If you need room temperature or a little bit warmer, depending on the time of year, it could be cool in your kitchen, and it'll just take a lot longer to rise. The best place to proof bread, if you want a consistent, slightly above room temperature, is right on top of your fridge. It's kind of the perfect place in the house. For this bread, I've found that 80 degrees or higher is a really good proofing temperature. So what you do is you take your oven, you turn on the oven light. That will keep your oven at about 80 degrees, give or take. So you just put on your light, and you just stick it in. And that's it. And when that doubles in size, which is going to be 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour if you don't put it in the oven, you come back to it, you check on it. And okay, it's been 45 minutes. I'm pretty sure our bread dough is ready. So let me just take a look inside the oven. And oh, this is a thing of beauty. Look what we've got going on here. Nicely doubled in size. And it'll just gently take it out. Comes right out because of the oil we put in there. And we're going to deflate it. So we're going to sort of push it down. We want all that air that we just made, getting rid of it. That's all good. We're going to make it into a little rectangle. And we're going to take far end, bring it up about 1/3 of the way, and the front end, the other 1/3 of the way. We're going to press that down just to make a seam. We're going to make a little loaf. If you want a longer loaf, you leave it like this. You just sort of work it. I like my loaves a little more like a football shape. Just tuck them in there, pull them in, and now you want to make the outside of this thing just a little bit tight. You want to give a little bit of stretch on the outside.
So we're just going to grab it from the bottom and just sort of pull. You can see the top is tightening up a little bit. I'm going to give it a little bit of shape. We're shaping the dough now. And it looks a little bit small, but not to fret, because we're going to be letting it rise a second time. Pretty much all breads have to rise twice. Once on the initial, which takes a little bit longer, and once on the second time.
Now, I'm going to use a pizza peel. I'll explain why. I'm going to put a little bit of cornmeal on it. And the cornmeal is just to help get it off the peel when I'm done. If you don't have a pizza peel, it doesn't matter. You don't need one. Just put it on a baking sheet. You don't have cornmeal, doesn't matter. Don't put anything down. Put a little bit of flour down. It really doesn't matter. We're going to transport this little baby right onto there. We're going to take our wrap. We're going to put it back on top. I like to put a little bit of cornmeal on top. Again, no cornmeal, no problem. A little bit of flour on top. We're going to cover that up just so it doesn't stick. Take a clean dish towel and cover it up again. And then you take it and you put it exactly where I told you to put it before, top of the fridge. I'm going to leave it up there. We're going to give it a second rise. As little as 10 minutes, as much as a half an hour. I lean towards the half-hour time. It'll come up nice. You don't want to overproof it because when it gets too big, it will then just deflate. I just had that happen the other day. I forgot about it. So put on your timer, check it at about 10-15 minutes, see how it's doing. We're going to come back and we're going to take a look at our proofed loaf. Okay, just one little thing I forgot, kind of important. We're going to preheat the oven. This oven's going to be really, really hot. That's how we're going to get a nice crust. That's part of how we're going to get a really nice crust. We're going to crank this up to 500 degrees. We're going to put a pizza stone in the oven. If you don't have a pizza stone, don't fret. Use a baking sheet. That's just fine. And I'll explain how we're going to transfer them afterwards. But right now, 500 degrees, baking stone inside, and then we'll be back after we check the proofed bread. Okay, it's been 35 minutes. Let's have a look at our bread. Oh, I can see it's looking pretty good. Look at that. Now, how can we tell if it's ready? Aside from the fact that it's a lot bigger, let's give it a little poke. And if it bounces back, which it is, not all the way, but it's coming back, she's ready. All right, we got our 500 degree oven. If this was on a tray, it would be an upside down tray. We just slide it in, or on a piece of parchment paper, and we're just gonna reach in, slide it on. Crap. Forgot one little thing, because I'm filming. That's to cut open the top of it. We just gotta let it breathe so it can move a little bit. If you have a sharp knife, that'll work too. Or a razor blade. All right. And now we want to create that thick crust, hard crust. Give it some water. Shut it down. Go down to 450 degrees. And give it about 17 minutes. And we'll be back. Okay, it's been 17 minutes. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's a beautiful brown color. How do we know if it's ready for sure? Sounds a little hollow underneath. Let it cool. And absolutely let it cool. You do not want to cut into a hot bread like this. My family knows already. I'm not allowed. Let that cool for a little while, and then feel free to just cut into it. Enjoy. That's about as easy as it is to make a bread. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll have a few more coming up in the near future, and we'll see you soon.